Speak through me. Come on, come on, come on. Welcome. I hope you know what time it is, y'all. It's Therapy Tuesday. Y'all, we back. It's August. Hey, the 8th month. School get back started. But y'all, we got some fire for you tonight. Ooh. Y'all, it's going to get a little spicy. Y'all hear what Levi talking about? She said, teach me how to love this man. Y'all teach me how to love this woman. Y'all, I got my tea, but we ain't clocking it. You hear me? So it's going to be a session today. Y'all, I'm excited. Do you have a placeholder or a purpose partner? Oh, man, we about to dig deep. We about to find out how to date wisely on tonight. Y'all know what time it is. It's the brother-sister duo, bridging the church and the couch. And y'all, I hope you on your couch. I hope you got your pen, your paper, your tea, your water, because I'm telling you today, ooh. And y'all, as always, engage with us. Before we even go any further, let us know in the comments where you coming from, what state you're in. Like it, share it. If you know somebody like, they be having some issues in they dating life, share this link with them right now. I'm telling you, put it on your page. If y'all have got anything from Therapy Tuesday in these past 2 years, share it right now. If you rock with AR, share it. Y'all, I know I'm hyped. Them 8 days I had down, thank y'all for praying for me, by the way. But I'm on fire. I'm on a spiritual fire and a natural fire, y'all. I am wide open, and it's a good thing. But I'm excited about tonight. So y'all know, she don't need no introduction. Y'all, this is my big sister. She older than me than 9 months, but I'm her little bigger brother because I got like a whole bunch of inches over her. But y'all, she's powerful. She's professional. She's articulate. She real, and she's transparent. So y'all, I'm going to let my sister come to the stage. I don't know what's going to happen. But y'all, we got some word, we got some real, we got some truth that's gonna happen tonight. Sis, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Come on up here.
All right, I'm back. I'm happy to be back at another Therapy Tuesday. This is a good topic. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed a little bit today because I have to acknowledge my privilege. I am married. I'm not single, so I'm gonna let you do a lot of the asking and all that. But I am gonna share some nuggets. And I'm gonna jump right in because I think we're gonna get a lot of questions and interactions. Before I jump right in, do you have any questions for me starting out the gate? You muted.
Y'all, I tell you, that be the devil. He just be trying to embarrass me. What's going on? Now, do I have any questions? Actually, yes.
Okay.
Let's ask, since you say you ain't gonna talk, but you gotta talk, because guess what? Look, I got my own issues, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm on the couch too. But since you are married, what can you see that you could have did differently dating now after being married than you did when you and Kyle started dating? With that T.
Ooh. Well, I would say trust your instincts. Um, not the one fueled by emotion, but the one fueled by wisdom. Um, and make sure you spend enough time getting to know yourself. Um, One thing that I'm thankful that my marriage has given me the grace to do is find myself. I've been able to grow. My husband can tolerate me growing. He married me. We got married at 26, and I'm not who I was at 26 right now. And I've been able to evolve and grow. So he's made space for me to do that. From an emotional standpoint, from a literal one when it comes to intellect. So, but there was some growth and some things that needed to happen at 26 that didn't happen. Like healing. I wish I would have talked to a therapist at 26. Maybe at 18, I wish I would have known more about my trauma and how it shows up and how it impacts me. Because then things would have been a lot different a lot earlier. So that's my nugget.
Well, that's good. Now I got you said something, so I need you to put a pin. Remember this. You might
Mm-hmm.
in the presentation. I don't know. And if you do, say I already got you, bro. But you said a big word. That T word. You said my husband tolerates me because in dating, don't nobody want to be tolerated.
Well, let me give you some language. Let me give you some
Yeah, yeah.
some
Go
some
ahead.
Christian
Put it on me.
language. My husband is grace to deal with me.
Okay. All right. Grace.
That's
Yeah.
it. I'm grace to deal with him.
Okay.
And that's just it. You got to find you can't just find somebody who makes you feel good. You got to find someone who when it doesn't feel good, they're gonna stay committed. They're gonna still be there. I can show up as my best self and my worst self, and I know he's not gonna leave me. Um,
Mm.
and that's called a covenant.
Oh yes, come on, big word covenant. Ooh.
We have, and I'm gonna talk about that. We're in a covenant. That's like a promise that can't be broken, and that came with time, consistency. If you want a covenant in a relationship, you got to be consistent. You must. If God wasn't consistent with his promises with us, we wouldn't be able to have the covenant with him. We can be in covenant with God because he's so consistent, he doesn't fail. And while we know partners can't be God, but they can be like God.
Okay, hold on, sis. I just seen a comment. Y'all, I need you to let me know. Can y'all hear me and hear Janae? Cause she in Florida, I'm in North Carolina. So we want to make sure you get every bit of this. So I seen no sound in the comment from YouTube. Let us know if you hearing us. Put an ear, a hand clap, or wave. Let us know that y'all can hear us because we don't want to keep going and you're missing things. Now, if you driving, that ain't on us. But if you sitting still and you on that good Wi-Fi, hey, and your signal is banging, let me know if you can hear us. All right. Sorry, sister. Go ahead and continue. But this was getting good to me already.
Yeah, we're made in God's image, and we can be Christ-like in a relationship. We can be consistent. We can keep our promises. We can honor our word. We can do what we say we're going to do. We can walk it like we talk it, and that builds trust. That makes people want to stay. That makes people want to submit. That makes people want to bring their best self to the relationship. So I think that's what I meant when I said he tolerates me.
Okay.
He's grace to deal with me.
I like that. Check your brother. Yeah. Check. He is grace. I like my brother love grace. Kyle, I hope I get some of that grace because I messed up the first time. So now this time I pray the Lord grace me when I find her. But I'm gonna get out the way. Go ahead, sis. Do you?
Mhm. All right, so I'm going to start off just inviting you all to sow into us. This does take us to sow into, so help us to make this bigger, better, larger. If you are led and you feel moved to give, you can give through Apple Pay or Givelify, whatever's on your heart. And we're putting something new out here. Well, I have on my hoodie, and I see Pastor AR has on his shirt. But did you guys know we have merch? Get you a Therapy Tuesday shirt so you can be on here matching us, matching our fly. Here's a QR code for the website, and you can get you a 15% discount using the discount code there. So scan, go ahead and get you a shirt, get you some hoodies, and there's some other good stuff on there. I just went looking shopping earlier, so get you some merch as well. And thank you all for your support. I can't believe how long it's been already. We've been doing this for a while now. Your support, just being here, your presence is a gift. Thank you. So as always, I'm going to start off with recommendations for success. Be present with me. I know you getting off work, driving, cooking, winding down, but still tap in and put your all into this so you can take something from this experience. Let's have a good discussion. I'm not all knowing. I am so willing to learn from you. So don't hold back. Put it in the comment section. This is not to replace psychotherapy or crisis stabilization. This is not mental health therapy. This is healing through conversation. This is just getting your mind and open up a little bit. So if you got a recommendation to see a therapist, still go do that. Take notes so you don't forget. Um, and if you're triggered, take care of yourself. It's not our intent to trigger you, but if you find yourself triggered, take a break, go get some cool water. Join us next month, but take care of yourself. All right, let's jump right in. And Pastor AR, interrupt me if I say something that pricks your spirit, jump in with me. The objective today, now, before I get into the objective, I just want to remind those listening this topic was asked for. The topic of godly dating. And the title that we're going to go into today is Purpose Partners versus Placeholders, Choosing Wisely in Dating. This was asked for. So I pray that this meets the needs of whomever asked for it. My objective today is to help singles recognize the difference between purpose partners and placeholder by treating dating like an interview process, learning how to identify the qualities that bring safety, growth, and alignment with God's plan so they can choose wisely, protect their peace, and prepare their hearts for covenant love. Not that Gone with the Wind, here today, gone tomorrow type of love, but that agape love that God talks about. So we're gonna jump right in it. Date like you're on a job interview. That is what I teach my clients, and I'm gonna bring that to you. You have to know if a person has the basic skills to progress with you. A lot of times we promote people and we hire people and we haven't even looked at their resume. We don't even know what's under their hood. We don't even know what trauma they're coming with. We don't even know how they handle conflict. It's not just about looks, it's about qualifications. You are that awesome and worthy that you need a partner that's qualified. You deserve a partner that's qualified to complete you, but compliment. I don't want to fall into the trap of strings. They compliment me today. I could take them off. I'm still beautiful without them. I don't need them. But because they compliment me, they fit my ears, I like them, I wear them, but I'm not so dependent on them where I can't live without wearing earrings. That's what you want in a partner. You want someone that compliments you, not completes you. Don't promote someone to spouse
Hold on,
potential.
pause that. Hold on. You said I can interrupt. I'm about to interrupt right now.
Okay.
So you telling me for all the things they can't get a handsome hunk or something that they see, or he can't find a baddie. You know, they got to match a qualification, a quality
They got
foundation.
to qualify.
Why? I don't want that.
You got
I
to
want to look
qualify.
good. She got to look good.
Yeah. What happens when you hire someone that's not qualified? The
I mean,
job doesn't get done.
well, they might get fired, but you know, at least they good to look at while they're there.
No, that ain't enough. That's not enough. Love isn't enough. Looking good isn't enough. Making me feel good isn't enough.
Hold on,
It takes
pause,
more
pause.
than that.
Did you just say love ain't enough?
Love
Oh
isn't
my.
enough.
Oh, I hope you got some tea for that later on today.
Love isn't enough. Yes. So don't promote someone to spouse potential if they fail the entry level test. Yes. If they fail entry level, we're not going to promote them. And we're not going to try to change them either. They got to come with whatever they have. Or you're going to be working for the rest of that relationship for the duration. You're not going to get a break from that. The same way you wouldn't hire someone without the right skills, you don't build covenant with someone without the right character. And that's it. You want someone with the right character to be consistent with to build that covenant. All right. So, since we are hiring somebody, I would
Hold
like you
on.
guys to get involved with me.
Let me add my pastor sense. So with that, I would say that also goes with Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10 that says two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if one falls, the other can lift one up. So if they got the qualifications when you fall, when you going through, when life hits and smacks you, they can pick you up. They can speak and they can breathe into you. Are we on the same page, sis? I just want to make sure. You know, I know I'm a clown.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely. My pastor always says, double the joy, half the sorrow.
double the joy,
Yeah.
half the world. That's
Yeah.
good.
And if you got someone with flawed character, you getting double sorrow and half the joy. It's the other way around.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
steal that. Put that in my notes, Pastor.
So, what's one interview question? If you got to hire these people, what's one interview question you think every dater should ask? You guys could participate here. Go ahead and put it in the chat. What's a good interview question? If I got to hire this person, they got to be qualified. And they got to have the character and they got to be doubling my joy. What do I need to be asking? And I'm going to tell you, it ain't the basic cliche question that we see on all these dating shows. Where do you live? Do you want children? Those are good questions, but those are not the questions that's going to get you the data you need to know if someone is qualified. You got to get beneath that surface stuff, or the stuff that really doesn't align with God. You got to get a little bit deeper than that. So, three-strand cord is uneasily broken. What? Oh, what are your pet peeves? Okay, that's good. I like that one because now you get to see how they deal with, well, what stresses them out, and quite possibly how they handle stress when they are stressed. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I'll give y'all some questions. I got a few of them here. I know there are more, but these are ones that I thought would be good to highlight. Do they make you feel safe emotionally, spiritually, and physically? Oh, that's a good one. Do you believe in Jesus Christ and do you attend church? Who's your pastor? That is good. And you know what I see a lot of too? It's not just enough that someone is a Christian and you're a Christian. There are many different ways to be a Christian. You got Christians that go to online church, Christians that say I'm not going to go to church right now. You got Christians that are in church all the time. It's really important to really understand how you guys worship God, church attendance, how frequently you want to go to church, the denomination you're going to go to, um, how often you pray and meditate and read your Bible. Those things matter. I have seen people have discord because one feels like I'm a Christian, but I ain't got to go every Sunday. And the other one says, my whole life, I'm going every Sunday. And that created tension. So it's not just enough to just be Christian. How do you worship? How do you practice as a Christian? How does that show up? So do you make me feel safe? Do you know you cannot have secure attachments when you don't feel safe? And that's really what's happening in a lot of relationships, especially I see it a lot with women. They get in relationships and they feel so deeply insecure. They're doing a lot of the phone checking, the the location following, asking where you at, what you're doing. That is a sign that you're not safe. And if you're not safe, you're never going to be able to be secure. You're never going to be okay with this person not texting you back fast enough, not telling you where they go every minute of the day. You got to assess that before you promote them. And that's what happens. We usually will promote people beyond entry level and we haven't established safety with them. And then we got to work backwards. So we promote them and then we got to try to make yourself. You can't make people change. The person who didn't have the qualifications in the beginning is the same person without the qualifications after the promotion. Can they communicate with respect, even in conflict? Yeah. Do they take accountability and show growth when corrected? Yes. Do they take accountability? If you are with someone in the dating realm and they don't show accountability, they can't acknowledge the ways that they may hurt you, that is a red flag. Because if they can't acknowledge how they make you feel in the dating realm, that's not going to change if you promote them. Are they consistent in action, not just words? We can say anything. In fact, words mean nothing. Look at their character, look at their behavior, look at their essence. That's really what matters. But a lot of times, emotions are satisfied just with words. So you'll find yourself forgiving someone who really doesn't deserve forgiveness only because of what they're saying to you, not because of what they're doing. Do they
Hold
share
on.
that?
Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
But you done said something. Now you said, okay, can a person communicate, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
before I'm gonna say my question, do you got something on communication later?
Quite possibly, but you can ask me now.
Okay, all
Ask
right,
me
let
now.
me
Go
ask
ahead.
this because everybody's comprehension of communication is different. So, how do you effectively communicate in dating when you don't know their history, you don't know their trauma, you don't know the things that bothers them? So, when I may say one thing, it's taken as another, or vice versa, and sometimes that can have conflict and it's unknown. What would you say to that?
Mhm. I would say if you interview properly, you know who you're with. I've worked with many couples, and one thing I'll point out to one or the other, I do a lot of education. I'll say, okay, you're with a partner who has a lot of trauma. Let me tell you what that looks like in relationships. That looks like being triggered. That looks like sometimes feeling unsafe when you did nothing. And you have to give this person grace and understand where it's coming from. Now, we're not making excuses for people to be abusive. That's not what we're doing here. But there's someone who still doesn't have sound. Cynthia Garrison says she doesn't have sound. Um, we're not
Can everybody, y'all
make
put a thumbs up if you could hear us right quick? I'm sorry. Y'all let us know if you can hear us loud and clear in the virtual land. Y'all, we in the virtual office today. Let us know if you can hear us. We don't want nobody to miss it. Sis, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, as long as we can hear each other, hey, if you got to go back and watch the replay, I want you to get it. But you know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep you here all night either.
All right, now bring me back to my thought.
Yeah, communication. Breaking it
Okay.
down.
Yeah. So really, you got to understand who you with. Like if you're getting with someone with lots of trauma, you got to understand what that looks like. You got to not take it personal. You got to be able to have the grace to deal with that. My husband knows how my trauma shows up. He doesn't take it personal. He don't say why you treating me that way. He don't blame me for it. It's kind of like, oh, that's Janae. I get a lot of grace. I understand who Janae is. So when Janae does this thing, I don't take it personal. In fact, I know what to do to soothe that now because I've interviewed her and I know her.
Mm.
Yes. So
That's good. Now, I just want to throw this out there because something just hit my spirit. You said when you interview. Now, however, we also know some people when they interview, they got to borrow clothes or they borrow resumes or they borrow certain things. So how do you know this person is borrowing something in this interview process? Come on, sis, let's talk. Let's get to the raw right
it's called
now.
discernment.
Oh,
Discernment
my. Well, that sounds like
is
a prayer because
yeah,
everybody ain't.
discernment is being able to determine what's good or bad for you. You have to have discernment, and if you don't have it, you got to ask God to give it to you. And in the clinical world, we would say mindfulness. In the Christian world, we call it discernment. You have to be able to look and vet things just like God can search things. You got to be able to determine what's right and what's wrong for you. If you're not spending a lot of time with yourself, if you're not spending a lot of time observing this person without your feelings being on the table, you're gonna miss it. But if you're in a honeymoon phase and you're mesmerized by how you feel, you're not gonna be able to see them for who they truly are. You're actually gonna rationalize things because the only thing that matters is how they make you feel. Out of emotion mind, get into wise mind, use discernment, vet, really search people, test them, test them. It's nothing wrong with testing. Now, I'm not talking about the testing that might be a bit humiliating and abusive and over the edge, but it's totally okay to see if someone can pass the test of getting the job done. When you apply for a job, they make you take all those assessments to see if your personality aligns. It's nothing wrong with doing that in dating. All right.
Hold on. We got to pause on that. You said test.
Oh
Now I
yeah.
do because testing could mean a lot of different things to different people. So does testing mean, oh, if I say, hey, I want this $300 watch and you don't get it, is that a test? Like, come on
Oh
now, we got to give a
no.
little bit more specific on this test now,
Now
because
that's not.
some people want a bag. And don't test me with no bag, because I promise you, listen, unless the grace of God, that grace, because it's an investment between me and you. So come on, let's get into that right quick.
Well, when I test someone, just like I test you guys at the end of Tuesday Talks, I'm assessing what you've retained or what you know. I want to know if you remember me. I want to know, like, so a test would be on my birthday. I'm assessing the kind of gifts you buy me because I want to know if you know who I am, if you've been listening to me, if you know my likes and my dislikes. I want to know if you can speak to things that I'm not speaking to because you're seeing me in a realm that I'm not revealing myself. That's the type of testing I'm talking about. Is this person really seeing me? Is this person really taking the time to get to know me? Is this person in this with me for the right reasons? Is this an authentic experience or is this performative? If it's performative, there'll be a lot of misalignments. You'll be getting gifts that that don't, you'll be wondering, why did he buy me this or why did she buy me this? I didn't, this is way off. The way in which they talk to you, the quality of the conversation is a test. If they're always talking about people and gossiping and topics that have nothing to do with you or not listening to you, shutting you down when you're talking, I think you can see through that test that they may be misaligned. So it's not actually creating scenarios to make them prove how much they like or love you. It's watching them in the natural environment. So it is like a pop quiz. It's in the natural environment. How do you pass this test? Because I see a lot of times we get in relationships with people and we try to change them after we promote them, and then we resent them because they won't change. But if you test them, interview, and vet them before you promote them, then you won't be so exhausted after you promote them when they don't change.
Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna add my little past the 2 cents, right? So I would say the scripture that comes to mind for me is Matthew 7:16, when Jesus says that you shall know them by their fruit. So in that interview,
You stealing my stuff. You stealing my stuff, but that's
oh look,
okay.
I don't even know. So that's be quiet, but I'm gonna say this. So in that interview, whatever seed that you're sowing, you're gonna see what fruit comes from it by how they're listening. And so whatever fruit that they're giving you by how they're responding, how they're acting, or what they're doing, it shows, did you listen to me? Have you heard me? Are you being understanding? Are we on the same page? Cause I don't want to get in your flow.
No, you
But
good. You
stay
good. You
on the
good.
flow.
And I want to know, I just want you to know, look, we only on what, like slide 2. We ain't even finished yet, but we gonna keep going.
Okay.
Um, do they share values and vision for family, faith, and future? Ah, that's it. Some people don't have the value of family, and you're trying to make them want a family. Some people don't value future. They just want you for right now, and you want to make them want you for the future. Can they lead and serve, or are they waiting to be carried? That's it. Can they lead and serve? Are they independent, or are things? Do they multiply your peace or your problems? These are things you got to pay attention to um, in your interview phase. So those are the interview questions that I came up with. Now, check the resume. The resume is likened to first impressions. So do they even meet the basic requirements? If they remind you of your ex, I'm remind you of your ex. If they remind you of your ex, they probably don't meet the basic requirements. They probably don't. So we have to. I have a line sister. She does live discussions, and she shared something today. And she said, "Don't go back." She said those are 3 words, and I'm going to share that here. Don't go back. Thank you, Stasia. Don't go back. Yes, they don't have the basic requirements. If they had the basic requirements, they wouldn't be an X, and we don't want to repeat that. Um, uh, I think it's Galatians 2:18. I'm gonna pull that up.
Now, why you pulling that? You said don't go back, right?
Yeah.
If they remind you of your ex. Now, what if your ex has some good qualities? Uh,
Hmm?
what if your ex has
Well,
some good
two
qualities?
two things can be true at the same time. They can have excellent, amazing qualities and still don't qualify.
Mm.
That's it. It's not the good quality. Everything has some good to it. Everything is a combination of good, bad, and ugly. But we don't pardon the bad because the good is there. Because that's not the problem. The problem is what the bad means to my beliefs and my values and who God says I am and what God says I'm supposed to be doing. Um, Good, that doesn't impact our Christian walk. So we can take that, but the bad is what gets in the way of us being all that we can be. And we're not going to sacrifice our walk with Christ just because someone has a beautiful smile, a good job, and we believe in their potential. And the audacity of hope is keeping us stuck.
Now, let me ask you this real quick, and I'm gonna get out the way. What if there's a good quality that reminds somebody of an ex, but that relationship it did go south, right? But seeing that good quality in somebody else is a trigger to that ex. What can you say to that?
Well, then you got to desensitize yourself to the trigger if the reality is that this new person is really nothing like the ex, just has a similar good quality. That is obviously a traumatic response. Um,
I'm
Looking
t-
at reality.
yeah.
Now, really, when I say basic requirements and X, I'm really talking about the fatal flaws. If the fatal flaws match, stay away. Um, and I got that Bible verse up. I'll read it. Thank you guys for putting that in the chat. So the Bible verse says, "For I, if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor." So if God is taking you out of something and you go back to it, you're a transgressor. And that reminded me of what my line sister shared. Don't go back. If God has delivered you from something, don't go back. Um, Going back to check the resume, faith, respect, and emotional maturity. Do you see that on the first date? Just natural baseline things, things that you should already come with. Um, if it ain't on the resume, don't make it up in your head. That's it. And that's the one where emotions will have you doing. Emotions will make you make things up about people. Just because people make you feel good doesn't mean they are good. And we got to learn the difference. We got to learn the difference in the reality of someone being a good person versus someone being good at making you feel good. That's where love bombing comes in. And it can be very confusing if you're not careful. This is where they're buying you gifts. Every time you say something, it's on your doorstep. If you say, "Oh, I want a new handbag," the handbag there. "Oh, I'm looking for a new pair of shoes," they're there. "Oh, I was thinking about going on a vacation to Jamaica." You got tickets to Jamaica. Be leery of that. That is very performative. While I'm not saying that can't come in an authentic package, it's possible. But in the very beginning of a relationship, it's highly likely that they are trying to reel you in because they have learned that the only way that they can be loved is if they buy you. And if people buy you, that usually means that they own you. And that means that they're going to have some expectations. So just be mindful of that. In addition to checking the resume,
Hold on, pause,
okay,
pause. Look, I'm gonna get in my own business, right? So
okay.
part of that is me, right? Especially say you're not in the vicinity of that person. And so you buying things or doing things is to for your presence to be felt without your presence being felt. And so it can come off as love bombing, but really it's genuine because of, hey, I'm not able to see you or be with you or to take you here. So then I'm listening to the things that you want. So I'll send it. So what would you say to that?
Mm. Well, I think all things require balance and discernment, right? Is it good for you to be in a long distance relationship and buy things because you're overcompensating for your absence? Is that good? Now, or is it good for you when you feel led to give and you naturally give because you have the unction to? That's just my thought. There's a wrong and a right way to do everything. You can wisely give a gift just because, or you can be fueled by your emotions, the emotion of missing somebody, and just buying them gifts because it's long distance. Um, and I did see a message that says that they're having issues with streaming on Facebook. It popped up. So yeah, so just do all things with tact. Just do it with tact. And then also think about what messages you're sending when you do that. When you overgift someone, then you teach them to expect gifts from you. So what happens when you stop buying gifts? And then also, why do they like you? Do they like you just because of the gifts you're buying? Or do they like you because of your essence? Or do they even know your essence? Because they're too distracted by the gift giving. My recommendation, gifts are good. They're great. But in the beginning of a relationship, in a dating phase, gifts can get very hairy and distort um, the why and the motivation for showing up. Nothing wrong with gifts. Just be mindful of the price of the gift, the frequency of the gift, and what's motivating you to give the gift. All right. So in addition to checking the resume, you got to check the references. So here you go, Pastor AR. What does their fruit say? What are they producing? Their character, their patterns, their history. Are they who they say they are outside of you? Do they got one persona in this environment, another with you, another one online? Is it a mismatch? Is it an incongruence and how they show up in this space? Even Jesus said, you will know them by their fruit. Don't close your eyes to what you're seeing. Don't gaslight yourself. If you're seeing incongruence, it's incongruence. Don't allow those feelings to make you feel confused. All right. So now it's time to offer the job. You done interviewed, you checked the resume, you checked the references, you decided if they qualified or not, and it's simple. If they qualify, they are purpose partner potential. This means the values align, they complement, they've shown consistent character. The words match the actions. You see actions. In fact, you see more actions than you hear words. You've asked the questions that you needed to ask to get the data that you need to get. You prayed and asked for discernment. They may not be perfect, but they have purpose partner potential. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. If not, don't hire a placeholder just because the position is empty. It's better to have an empty position than to have a placeholder. And I know it doesn't feel good, especially if you're battling loneliness, especially if you're watching everybody else get in relationships and get married. It is not easy. And I truly do empathize. We were not made to be alone. So loneliness is a real place, especially if you're watching everybody else around you do the thing that you yearn for and you desperately want. And I want to bring to your attention, you are the hiring manager. You are. I don't know if y'all realize this. You're the hiring manager. That means you got to know the policies and the procedures and the rules and the regulations and the guidelines for this position that you're trying to fill. You have to be the expert on what you need. Be very careful. Be extremely careful with family and friends projecting on you what they think you need. Just because this person needs that type of partner or that person think this type of person is good for you, don't allow them to influence you outside of seeking a purpose partner. Don't allow them to put you in a position of just accepting a placeholder because that's what they did. And that's another conversation for another day. So now I want to talk about the plastic plant or the fake plant. And this is what a placeholder reminds me of. It looks good sitting in the corner, but it can't grow. It's a placeholder. No matter how much sunlight or water you give it, it will never produce fruit, shade, or life. It only gives the appearance of something real, while a true purpose partner is like a living tree, rooted, growing, and able to bear fruit with you. Be mindful of the fake plants in dating. You don't want a beautiful fake plant that's just taking up space in the living room. You need something that's going to grow and that's real and that responds to nurturing, that responds to light and water. So what's a placeholder? I know you guys already know because of the word. It fills space, but not destiny. It's filling up space, but you still feel empty. Like it's good to not be alone sometimes, but you still feel alone. And I know you guys have been in those relationships, especially if you have already come to terms that you were once with a placeholder. No matter how much time you spent with them, it just didn't feel like you were getting fed and full. It just wasn't enough. A placeholder is someone you know isn't aligned, but you keep them anyway. Can look good on paper, but lack spiritual fruit. Keeps you distracted, delayed, and discouraged. I don't know if anybody's listening to me, but I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where you were worse off in the relationship than you were before you got in a relationship. I know a lot of people say I can do bad all by myself, but listen, you can do bad and better by yourself. If you have been with someone, or if you go into a new situation with someone and you're distracted, you're not focused, you're not motivated, that is a red flag. That is a red flag that you might be with a placeholder. So I'm going to ask you, join me in the comment. What are some signs you might be entertaining a placeholder? For you, have you ever entertained a placeholder, and what was that like? And I guess I'm going to ask you, Pastor AR, have you ever entertained a placeholder?
Why you got to bother me? You know, this ain't. I'm just saying, this is not about me today. Gee, my God. So I will say, have I ever entertained a placeholder? Yes, because I wasn't fully aware of what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I wasn't fully aware of myself, I would have to say, yes, I have. And at the time, I didn't know they were a placeholder until I got more understanding of who I was and dealt with my trauma and my emotions and everything that was going on. And ultimately my hurt and my own past with certain things, because when you get in a relationship and you start courting and doing all these things, you start to realize either things that one, you are better with dealing with, or things that you still got to deal with. And it may be me, hey, I got to go back to the drawing board in me. I got to
Uh-huh.
go check my heart. And so in my life, yes, I have definitely, especially younger, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew what love is and I didn't.
Mhm. Now here's another twist to this.
Uh-oh, come on, you twisted. Let me twist my cap.
Have you
Oh,
ever been in a relationship and realized you were the placeholder?
what? Yes, I have. And it's okay. You know,
Okay. And
none
that's
of
it. We're talking about making sure you don't have a placeholder, but what if you end up being the placeholder and not the purpose partner for somebody? Look, that's now I ain't put that in here. That's a whole that dropped right out of the sky here.
hey,
Um,
well, I think again that comes with those questions that you asked in the beginning, like finding out are we on the same path? Are we going in the same direction? Do you have the capacity to handle what I got to give right now and where I'm going? Because if
mhm.
not, you may be a placeholder. You may just be filling space. You may just be a warm body. You may just be a conversation, because when you understand what you need and where your purpose and your destiny is, because your partner, now let me demyth some things. We choose our partner. God can send people to us, but we ultimately choose them. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we'll hear, oh, God sent me this. Now you chose it because you had to say yes to. Granted, I understand there are situations due to force abuse, but prayerfully that is not anybody's situation on here. If so, please get you a therapist or try to contact somebody to help you with that. But when you realize, hey, this person only wanted me because I had a good job, or this person only wanted
Mm.
because I am nice, I do have a big heart, and they realize I could help them get to where they needed, and then they dip on you,
Or
like,
you're buying them gifts.
or you buying them get. That's why I done slowed down. I done got better, but I am a giver naturally, and the Lord been helping me because I
Mhm.
want to give. My apostle, my she was a giver. She give, and one thing I understand, you can't outgive God. And if I give something because it comes from the right place, I know God will also replace whatever I've given. And prayerfully, my good won't be evil spoken of or evil taken, because my heart is so big. Because at the end of the day, here's one thing I like to look at it as: the things that we buy or give, send to somebody, it's always a remembrance of you, right? And so when I can't give my presence, my voice, or the things that are not tangible, you have something tangible of my existence.
Mhm. Yeah, I like it, and I'm so grateful that you are in a better place, and you're no longer a placeholder. All right, so let's look at what is a purpose partner. And I think this is pretty self explanatory, so I don't have much on it, but they walk with you toward your destiny, not away from it. Um, a lot of times when people have unresolved trauma, and you get in a relationship with them, they want to change who you are. They want to tell you what your dreams are. Sometimes they isolate you and keep you from family and friends and places that you used to enjoy doing. I'm going to share this with you. You are always in a dangerous place in a relationship when you no longer have autonomy. When you don't have individuality within a relationship, you're in a dangerous place, and you're probably on the way to codependency, enmeshment, and some form of abuse. I have rarely do I find people in isolation and there's no form of abuse. And usually what I see when people get isolated like that is emotional abuse, the kind nobody sees. So when you talk about it, people think you're crazy. Because you don't have a black eye, or because it's not visible. And the abuser is pretty smart. They don't do it in front of people. And actually, because they've been love bombing you, all your friends and family say, he or she is amazing. Why are you not happy? Because they don't really see what's going on behind closed doors. I threw that in there for free. Right. So they pray with you, they cover you, they uplift you. If someone is verbally abusing you, even when they're not having a good day, that's not okay. Abuse of any kind is not okay. They share values, vision, and a faith foundation. At the core, at the foundation is faith. They push you closer to purpose, not comfort. So this means that they hold you accountable. We are also in a dangerous place when we're in a relationship with people that don't hold us accountable. That means I'll be doing things to destroy my life and you're going to let me and you won't stop me. And this is a life we're building together. So essentially, not only are you okay with me destroying my life, but you're okay with a vicarious experience where now your life might be impacted. If someone just lets you do things and don't call you out and hold you accountable, that is definitely also a red flag. You don't have to make them. They are not puppets.
Hey, you said something deep on that accountability. Would you also say accountability would be in tandem with submission? Because if I'm accountable to you, I'm also willing to submit to you to my issues and my goods. And so if we're going to walk together, I have to be able to give you both sides of my coin. Would you
I
say
agree
that?
with that. I
Okay.
agree with that. And I even have a little thought about submission. I think that we over sensationalize the definition of submission. Like I think from a worldly perspective, when people hear the word submission, they hear slave or like I don't have a voice. But when I hear the word submission, what I really hear is love and respect. Like I
Yeah.
I love, respect, and honor. Like I'm in this covenant with you and I trust you, I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna honor you. I will consider what you think. And because it's double the joy and half the sorrow, if I'm considering how I make you feel, I'm minimizing the pain that I cause you. And to me, that is an act of submission. And also, when you bring about the accountability piece, like when I can acknowledge how I hurt you, that's accountability. And if you can make sure I understand how I hurt you, that's also accountability. So we're not just going to let people treat us any kind of way because they need to know. Because if we don't let them know, how can they adjust? If I don't tell you how you hurt me, you're going to keep hurting me. And then I'm going to blame you for it. So in relationships, we really have to learn assertiveness. You were talking about communication. We have to learn to be assertive. And assertive is simply meaning what you say and saying what you mean, but not being mean about it, right? Just be direct. And to further build on that communication, we got to start practicing emotional honesty, brave listening, active listening, reflective listening. And we got to learn to listen, but we also have to learn to speak very clearly and directly. I'm not saying be rude. I'm not saying be aggressive, but we have to speak and exact. We can't be under generalized. We can't be beating around the bush. We can't be afraid to speak our mind because we don't know how this person is going to be. If you're in a covenant with somebody and they've been promoted and you vetted them, you should be able to tell the truth and they should be able to hear the heart of what you're saying. Um, but again, from a clinical perspective, a lot of times that can't happen because you're being triggered. People, and when you're triggered, people can't hear. There's this deafness that happens when people are emotionally triggered, and sometimes you do have to deal with that in order to have a good conversation.
So,
um mhm.
so with people being triggered, can you also say, or would you agree that when you are triggered, sometimes your natural senses are altered because of your trigger, and so where the person may be giving you love from their heart, you're hearing it as something else because you are triggered, and so therefore you have to reconfigure yourself and get with God to say, okay, God, like the song said, teach me how to love again because I got to relearn this bad love language that I've had.
Or like you share with me, God show me to myself, right?
Yeah.
Show me to myself, help me to see myself how my partner sees me, and you shared that with me. um Sometimes you got to ask for help. You got to tag team God in because you can't do it all on your own. um And sometimes, and I said this the other day on social media, one of the hardest parts of healing is not only being able to acknowledge and name your own pain, but it's being able to see how you cause other people pain. That's hard. It's hard to admit, wow, because of my trauma and my irritability and how I moved, I hurt him or her. That's hard. But you got to do it. If you care about people, you care about how you make them feel, and that's just that. I was speaking to a friend yesterday, and she shared that someone was offended by her, and the offense came from a trauma response. But she didn't defend herself. The first thing she said was, I'm sorry that you had that experience with me. I'm sorry I hurt you. I can acknowledge that you had an experience with me that hurt you. That's just caring for people.
Mm.
But we get so caught up in feeling like we need to be right versus happy. Well, I want to prove that I ain't done nothing wrong. So I'm forget your feelings. Listen to my argument. And that's invalidation. And if you keep having that in a relationship, you're not going to get anywhere.
And
And mhm.
go ahead.
I just say, and I see that a lot. I see a lot of um, ignoring people's feelings, minimizing them, gaslighting them because everybody wants to prove how right they are.
Mm. And so with and this what I'm about to say will go with that. So just like sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way," but really that's not the same as I'm sorry my actions made you feel this way, because I'm sorry you feel this way almost seems dismissive or like you don't care. And so even though
Mm-hmm.
your intention may not been to, excuse me, cause offense to them, but it is something that you have to take acknowledgement of, saying, I hear you. I may not understand, but I respect your feeling. And I'm sorry that I made you feel overwhelmed by my love. And it's not a form of rejection, but it's a form of understanding, to know that, hey, if you are the person for me, I'm willing to fall back to the level that you can experience until we kind of meet in the middle, if you will. Right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's really, I want to understand you. And it's okay to say, I don't understand you, but I want to. I love you that much where I want to. So if you say me not washing the dishes at night trigger you, I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to understand where that came from. And here's another thing. You do have the right to say, I can't love someone right. Now, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Sometimes people need to be loved in a certain way to feel more secure, and you're not graced for it. We have to learn to walk away, not only when people aren't graced to deal with us, but when we aren't graced to deal with other people. We will sign up for jobs and we don't meet the qualifications. We don't have enough prerequisites. We don't have enough anything to do it, but because we love them and we've attached, we stay and we try to make it work. But sometimes we don't have what it takes to love people the way they need to be loved. And it's no one's fault. It just is. It's just because of their experiences, their trauma. They now have a prototype of the way that they need to be loved. And you don't have the capacity to be that. And that's okay. It's totally okay to acknowledge we don't align and walk away. All right. So moving on to further explaining a purpose partner. Oh, we finished that. You don't have to make them. That was the last point I made. So you guys could think on this. You don't have to necessarily put it in the chat, but how do you know when someone is a purpose partner? I think you guys know. We've talked about it. I think you guys have an idea. There's alignment happening. It's organic. It feels like a breath of fresh air. It's not perfect, but when you guys have conflict, there is resolution. There's compromise. And I will point out, most relationships don't start off like this. There is always a developmental phase or a rough patch or a breaking through that takes place. No one starts off automatically aligned smoothly. Why does it matter to be with a purpose partner? Why are we even doing this? Well, I think you guys asked for this because it's draining, constantly pouring out your affection and time and energy and it not yielding anything. So we want to stop wasting time. We want to stop draining our spirits. We want to stop um, just being with wrong connections and also having placeholders there. And another thing, if you have a placeholder there, sometimes you might miss the purpose partner because he or she comes, but it's no space for them. Um, the right partner multiplies your capacity for joy and service. So Your life is better when you find a purpose partner. That's why it matters. We all want a better life. And dating God's way is about alignment, not just attraction. So it matters because we want something that's more fulfilling than just outer appearance. But alignment sets your life on a path for unity, for advancement, for love, for dreams coming true, for meeting goals, for feeling fulfilled, for walking in your purpose, for walking in your blessing. And you rob yourself of that experience when you don't have a purpose partner. All right, some common pitfalls in Christian dating. So we ignore red flags. Red flags are stop signs, not warning signs. I mean, stop, not keep going, and maybe if you see it again, then stop. A red flag is like a stop sign. It means stop. And sometimes God sends us stop signs, but because of how we feel, we keep going. Loneliness is sad because you're alone. Because you're sad because you're alone, you keep going because now this relationship is your antidepressant. You need this person to feel better. And when I say heal, learn how to be content and happy before someone comes along so you don't have to have this type of person for antidepressant. Confusing physical chemistry with covenant readiness. Yes. And this is exactly why God has things aligned the way that He has them. Let me tell you something. When you become physically involved with someone, it is a psychological process. There's a lot of research on there, women especially. The way that we see partners who we've had physical intimacy with, it changes our brain and how we're wired toward that person. So imagine having that experience with someone who doesn't qualify. Now you are psychologically connected to someone who could never give you what you need, but the damage is there. And you got to figure out how to undo that. And many women never figure that out. And men, the same thing for you. We don't talk about this enough, but when you have physical experiences with women, this person now is connected to you on a psychological level. And you have to be very mindful of what that might look like long term, especially if they didn't qualify or you really weren't that interested. Now you got this person who's hooked on you, who's calling you, who's texting, who wants more, and you don't want to give more. And now you're exhausted and now you're stressed out. Um, Seeking validation instead of discernment. Ah, yes. We wanna feel good instead of just making good choices for ourselves. And I said that in more than one way tonight. This one right here, I don't know. I think I'm coming down somebody's road right now. Rushing God's timing out of fear of being left behind. Yeah. We want to, there's this FOMO, fear of missing out. Everybody else is doing it, everybody else is getting married. If I don't do it now, I won't be able to do it. That is a lie. Everybody's journey is different. Your feelings are real, the loneliness is real, but the belief you have that time is running out, it'll never happen to you, it's a lie. And I'm going to be very honest. Deal with those beliefs because what you think comes out of your mouth, what you say is seed into the ground and it manifests. So if you say you're not going to ever find a good man or a good woman, you will not. If you think that you're incapable of being loved correctly and you're thinking that and you're saying that, you will not. If you believe that there is someone out there you just haven't crossed paths and you take care of yourself, you do your healing work, you find ways to fill your own cup, you become emotionally independent, it will happen. It will happen. So here's some solutions for common pitfalls.
Hold on
And of
one.
course, uh-huh.
I got to give my 2 cents. I got a feedback. Am I good now? That feedback gone?
Yeah, it's gone. Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that, what you was talking about with women and men. So I will say, especially, I think more men deal with it than it's talked about. For that physical connection, because we are physical creatures, right? And so because of that, you have slept with women, or you look for that intimacy, that false sense of intimacy or covenant because of how your body responds. So I can say, even for me in my younger days, hey, I was not the same past I am now, you know. So thank God for change. But because of trauma, unresolved issues, I opened myself up to more looking for a certain kind of love and affection, and looking for the wrong thing, not understanding when ultimately I had to deal with me. I really had
Mm-hmm.
to hone in on my trauma, not to just want this physical experience, like they say, because that intimacy does give you a euphoric feeling. It gives you that high, right? So therefore, that's why then it becomes an addiction, because you get that
Mm-hmm.
high, that feel good, and now this person, oh, I'm in love with you because the physical is the bomb.com, and then it's like, dang, you don't do nothing else for me. Like when I'm going through, you can't talk to me. You don't know how to meet me where I'm at, and so it's a big thing to address your trauma, where you've been, your experiences of life, because all that plays to you saying, you know what, let's just wait. Because again, waiting helps you to walk away easier.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
helps you to discern the difference, to know, can this person stimulate me through my mind first, and now my body is responding before they touch my body. But I'm gonna get out the way. I'm gonna go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, that's real. You learn to connect through things that are more foundational. So when the physical is off the table, the love doesn't change. And that's it right there. Oftentimes when the physical nature of a relationship adjusts, so does the affection, the attention, and the desire. And if that is the case, it probably was a placeholder and not a purpose partner. So some solutions. We've talked about
One,
placeholders, purpose
one
partners.
last thing. I'm sorry. And
Mhm.
with that, and I just felt this in my spirit. If a person cannot value you wanting to wait, they definitely ain't the one for you. If they have to push you to say, if this is the only way that we're really going to mesh and get that covenant or get to that place, they're not the one for you, and they really need to self-evaluate. Anybody that will try to push you from your morals or your values or your principle, get up out of there.
Yeah, and it's highly likely that they are a person who has learned love through physical touch. So they got to deal with the parts of them that believes that they're not being loved properly unless they're being touched. I see that a lot in women. I went through it myself. I had to go through an unlearning. And when I say I went through myself, I can be honest about beliefs I had. I truly learned through television and relationships that I saw modeled that when you love someone, physical touch is there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize until I actually got to practice myself. Well, wait a minute. You can love somebody and not touch them at all. And when I say touch, I'm talking about sexual touch to be more clear. You can have a great bond with someone and not take it there. I have done it. Um, and then the rushing God's time, I'm gonna no, I already talked about that, but there's more solutions. So pray for clarity, not just compatibility. It's good to pray for compatibility, but you need to be able to see. You need clarity. You need vision, not see. You need vision. You need to be able to visualize and see things beyond your experiences. The compatibility part is pretty easy. It's a checkbox, but it's that other stuff that's going to take you to pause and really pay attention. Surround yourself with godly counsel and community. I'll be honest. When I was 16, I did well, when I was younger, I always had the mindset, oh, I'm gonna wait till marriage, or I'm not gonna do it till I'm married. And I had a purity ring, and I was very involved in that. And let me tell you, my friends messed that up for me. My friends really were in my ear. Girl, ain't nobody waiting. Why you doing that? You should do it. It's fun. It's this. And they got me. I was like, well, shoot. Everybody else doing it, I might as well do it too. So be very mindful of the company you keep because they can be very influential. Um, and I'm glad I had that lesson because I really do now see the power of the influence of the people who you have in your inner circle. Get you some praying friends, get you some friends that will support your spiritual and relational goals. Get you somebody when you can't do it, they can pray for you. Get you someone who, even if they're different from you, they don't impose and force their views and practices on you. Set boundaries that protect your heart. You must, unless you want a broken heart repetitively. And do your own healing work. Wholeness attracts wholeness. One thing that I always see are patterns. When I see men and women come in and they've had failed relationship after failed relationship, there is a pattern. And the pattern usually is the trauma in you attracted to the trauma in this other person. And I don't call that trauma bonding. It's just simply connecting through trauma. And it's feeling like compatibility. When you connect through trauma, that's not compatibility. That's just saying I got scars and you got scars too. Just because we both got scars don't mean that we know how to love each other any better. Doesn't mean that we're automatically qualified. In fact, that means that we come with a lot of other stuff under the surface that might make us harder to love and harder to love others.
Hold on one brief second.
Uh-huh.
Add this little piece. If you fall, physically with your partner, somebody you're courting, don't demonize yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Get up, figure out what made you fall, and try to find some things that when you're getting close, that okay, let me do this. I need to go run around the house. I need to do a push-up. I need to go get in the shower or something to redirect that feeling to also keep yourself safe. God does not love you any less because you fall. The Bible says, the just may fall and rise again. So if you fall, get up. Don't stay there because I just feel in my spirit. Some people have gotten stuck because they failed and they did what they did, and it's like, my purpose is sabotaged. I'm not going to get where I'm supposed to be. No, you just got to ask God, help clean me up. Help me to see me the way that you see me, and so that I can move forward in the direction that you've called me to go. All right, I'm up out of here.
All right, y'all being quiet today, but that's okay. Maybe y'all absorbing it. Let me know y'all still here. Give me a thumbs up, a waving hand, or something. So I do have a little reflective exercise. So write down what qualities do you need in a purpose partner that aligns with your God-given purpose. Write that down, so that way you know what you're looking for. And I want to encourage you all my singles listening in. When you're going on dates, study your list. After your date, go back to your list and see if this person has that. And then I want you to compare this list to your current or past dating patterns, because I want you to see your pattern of selecting. I want you to see if you have a pattern of picking a certain type of person that maybe on your list you need someone who is naturally involved in church and not being forced to, and maybe that's something you've been overlooking. That might be something you need to change going forward. Pray over this list and ask God for discernment. Ask God to help you determine every time you on a date if this is a good person that is aligning or not. And I really want to encourage you to really lean into God's voice when you pray that prayer. So that way you're not being distracted by your feelings or how fine the person is or other things that are very distracting. So I had to throw this in there because I didn't want you all to think that we got to throw the baby out the bathwater. Humans are developing. So you're not going to get someone who's perfect, is going to check every box. So great. There are times where you can give grace. Not everybody who is less than perfect is a placeholder. So that's what I wanted to highlight. Grace is for growth, not excuses. So everyone has areas where they're still working, but don't confuse process with pattern. Some people are developing. I know a little birdie who broke up with a guy who, because she felt like his career was beneath her. He was a school teacher, and she was like, he's a school teacher and he need to be more ambitious. And I'm like, he's a man with a full-time job working with children. He passed a background test. He knows how to work with kids. It looks good to me. But because he didn't fit the image of this perfection of a guy, this fantasy image, she threw the baby out with the bathwater. People are developing. As long as you can see process, don't throw them out. Here's some signs of when you need to give grace. They are consistent in effort, even if imperfect. So they're not perfect, but they're consistent. You can count on them. You can count on them to show up. You can count on them to do what they say. Shoot, they showed up when you thought they weren't even going to show up. They take accountability and show repentance. They will say, I'm sorry. They will ask for forgiveness. They will point out when they are wrong before you have to point it out. You see fruit of growth over time. You can see the fruit that they're bearing. They may not be big fruit, but you see them coming. You see the effort. You see them trying. That's worth letting them be a purpose partner, a potential purpose partner. Don't give endless grace. We don't want to give endless grace because then the red flags will become cyclic. That means they will, you'll always, in fact, you kind of become desensitized to them and chuck up bad character for just that's just who they are. You'll be like that's just who they are. And you might joke about it, but make no mistake, you don't want to find yourself in a relationship with someone who has fatal flaws, and you've now convinced yourself that it's okay. You're in a dangerous place. You don't want to give grace if promises replace progress. So they keep making promises but keep breaking it, and you don't see any progress. So broken promises over and over again, dishonesty. You're carrying all the weight. You're carrying the emotional weight of the relationship. In fact, if you stop what you were doing, there would be no relationship. You got to stop giving grace. Um, and hope keeps you, but their actions don't. They're doing nothing to keep you. They're not pouring into you at all, but you're so hopeful. You're so hopeful because you've invested so much time. That is a good sign to stop giving grace. And I just want to leave you with this last nugget before I test you guys with true or false. Um, Seek God while dating and not just for breakups and divorce. A lot of times we get with people, sometimes we marry these people, and we have not consulted with God. But the moment things go awry and we have to break up or we have to get divorced, the first person we call on is God. And I'm just encouraging you, if you seek God first, all good things will be added. That's Bible. Seek God first and not when there's a breakup and divorce. Do it from the beginning. That's the last nugget I will leave you with. So let's check for understanding. Let's see if you've been paying attention to me. Put a T in the comment section if it's true or if it's false. A placeholder can still become a purpose partner if you give them enough time. Is that true or false? That is false. If they're a placeholder, they are a placeholder, and time is not going to help them. And if time does help them, you may not be in a position to stick around for that type of evolution. Consistency is more important than chemistry when it comes to building. That is very true. Do you guys know that chemistry fades? That's why consistency is so important. So when the honeymoon phase is gone, the consistency is the gas that keeps the car rolling when you're talking about a relationship. If someone makes you feel unsafe emotionally, you should give them more grace to see if they'll change. Is that true or false? That is false. Purpose partners don't have to be perfect, but they should be progressing. Is that true or false? That is true. They don't have to be perfect, but they should be making progress. It's wise to date someone who shares your faith, vision, and values. That is true. Promises without progress are a sign of real growth. That's real false. Yes, that's just words and not no action happening. Dating without discernment often leads to distractions and delays. That is true. Dating without knowing if someone is good or bad for you could definitely delay things and distract you. And last but not least, grace is for growth, not for excusing cycles of red flags. That is true. You want to give grace where you see people are developing and progressing and growing, but we don't want to use grace as a means to excuse cycles of red flags. So thank y'all for tuning in and having this conversation with us and listening. I hope you took something out of it. The person who requested this topic, I pray that it met your needs and you got something from it. At this time, are there any questions, thoughts, or feedback? You muted.
Also, I want to add, just because y'all we went today. If you have some questions, put it in the video or text the number on the line. We will get back with your questions. And y'all, if maybe we need to do a part 2 to this later on, let us know. We want your feedback. If this was beneficial for you, let us know. But we want to be conscious of your time and Janae's time as well as my time. So if there is, I'm gonna look real quick. We're gonna give a little 30-second countdown. I know since the Facebook little issue, I did see a lot of comments. However, y'all comment on the video on YouTube or Facebook, or text that number with a question, and I promise you we will get an answer to you. But y'all, if Janae dropped some bombs or y'all got something out of the night, can y'all put some hearts in the chat, a hand clap, a teacup or something, because it was good to me. I'm telling you, look, I learned some things and it was dope. Y'all, we got to have real conversations in Kingdom. It's not just about doing it one way. We need the word, we need real, we need science. Y'all, we need it all, because when you understand who you are, you understand your body, you understand trauma and triggers and things, it will affect your natural chemistry. Guess what? You got to start doing some things. So, y'all, please, please, please make sure you get what you need. Get what you need. So, Janae, thanks, sis. I appreciate you. Also, if you want to hear us talk about a topic, put it in the chat on these videos or this Therapy Tuesday so we can see, because we want you all to be benefited from everything that we do. It's not just about us. We're not just getting up here just to waste time or to waste your time. So if there's a topic that you want to hear about, we're wide open. So we appreciate you. Sis, thanks. I'm going to let you get off of here because I already know what time it is and the things that you have to do. So thank you so much, as always, for your time. Thank you for being a part. Y'all, as always, I can't let you go without praying. A few quick announcements. Y'all, this week we are getting back to our Bible study. On Thursday, I'm starting a series on stewardship, as well. Your giving makes a difference for all that we are doing in Kingdom. It does. So please, 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 y'all support one another. Because guess what? One day you may have something you're doing and you want some support. God knows what you can do. You know what a dollar ain't hurt nobody. We waste that. But y'all, I hope tonight blessed you in some form or fashion, gave you some tools. It helped you out. I know I was cutting up tonight, but that's who I am. I'm Brother Do. I'm just trying to do right, y'all, because I done seen a lot, been through a lot, and did a lot, but I thank God for elevating us together. So, Father, we just thank you. God, I thank you that every word that was spoken, Father, that it falls on the good ground. God, it helps those that are listening tonight, those that will go back and watch the replay. Father, those that need some help and some assistance. Father, we just ask that you be their assisting on tonight. So, God, do what only you can do. God, those that are dating, God, let it be holy. Let it be kingdom. God, let it be fruitful and healthy. So, God, I just ask that you touch all the couples, all the relationships, all those that are seeking, all those that are looking, God, even those that are trying to understand themselves. Father, when they seek you first, when they seek kingdom first, God, my God, you'll do it. So, Father, I thank you for doing in them what you have done already in so many others. In Jesus Christ's mighty name, I pray. Amen. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Have a great night. Be blessed. Remember, keep your head up because you have nothing to look down about. God bless you.